Shabbat Shalom. There is a well-known quote from Pirkei Avot, which goes as follows, and which, after what both Rabbi Splansky and Tomasher have said, will come as no surprise to you. Ben Zoma Omer, Ezehu Hacham, Halomed Mikol Adam. Ben Zoma says, who is wise? The one who learns from every person. This quote has always resonated, but feels especially poignant at this moment, because when I was applying to Holy Blossom, my future colleagues emphasized that this congregation primarily viewed their rabbis as teachers. We may sense a dissonance here, though, for we might ask ourselves, aren't teachers meant to be the ones who give the learning, not do the learning? Holy Blossom, after all, has an extraordinary legacy of teaching, being the home of Rabbis Eisendrath, Plaut, Marmer, and many other preeminent teachers. And it is still 6 months later unbelievable to be standing on this bima from which they once taught. Yet, since coming to Holy Blossom, I have come to understand that teaching and learning are a symbiotic relationship, one in which we are able to grow from and with each other and become wiser in the process. I now know that Holy Blossom does not view their rabbis as teachers because you expect us to have all the answers. Rather, it is because of the tremendous value you place in the sacred partnerships we forge when we learn together from all the good work we do, from praying to programming, and sometimes even playing. It is these relationships that nourish the soul and fill me with enormous pride in our congregation. Particularly as a new rabbi, it is from these relationships that I have learned the most and continue to learn from every day. It is perhaps no coincidence, then, that the next part of our quote from Pirkei Avot references our Psalms and reads as follows: "From all who taught me, I have gained understanding." This reads as an expression of humility, being the recognition that no one can fulfill the potential of their role as a teacher, as a learner, and certainly not as a rabbi alone. As such, today is first and foremost the opportunity to express my gratitude to you, those who have taught me, and those who continue to teach me and bring new understandings of what it means to be a rabbi and what it means to be but a small part of this Kihila Kadoshah, this sacred community, starting with two of these very people, two of my teachers on this bima. So to Rabbi Karen Tomasher, welcome back to your Holy Blossom home, and now I understand why it's a bit odd to not be able to see you. Although it's cliche, when thinking about what I wanted to say to you today, I kept returning to the phrase, "Aseh lecha rav ukneh lecha haver." Find for yourself a rabbi and acquire for yourself a friend. It is precisely because of the way that you have been a rabbi to me, playing many roles in my life that have turned you into a role model, that you have, as a result, become a cherished friend and colleague. As long as we have known one another, you've always had this unique ability to meet people where they are at, to pay attention, as Rabbi Splansky said, in a completely honest but completely compassionate way. I cannot count the number of times that I've walked out of your office after coming to you for advice during my time in rabbinical school and realized, oh, she's telling me to get my act together. But you did it in such a kind way that it took a minute to notice. Yet that minute made all the difference to seeing that you were being fair and had not just my best interests at heart, but those of anyone who has sought your guidance. In plain and simple terms, you have this innate gift of just getting or just understanding people. It is because of this innate gift that you were the first person I wanted to hug after being ordained at Plum Street Temple, part of your synagogue, Wise Temple, and one of the last that I wanted to say goodbye to before I left for Toronto, when we actually watched the Women of Holy Blossom 100th anniversary event together. It is because of this innate gift that made you the first person I rang after I got the call from Holy Blossom, after my mother and after Rabbi Rosen, of course. Let's be clear about that. This gift makes people want to be around you and get to know you and seek your good counsel, and makes you subsequently one of the most respected rabbis in Cincinnati. It is because of this gift that you have become not just a professional, but a personal confidant, a friend. Rabbi Tomasho, I trust your Netflix recommendations unconditionally, and don't worry, none of your coffee orders will ever be too high maintenance. But in all seriousness, without your encouragement, without your guidance, without your faith in me, and without your friendship, I absolutely would not be standing on this bima. I could not be happier that someone who has made me so much wiser is home here with us today. I know the rest of our congregation is too. This brings us to Rabbi Yael Splansky. On that freezing day in February, when the search committee brought me to visit Holy Blossom, I thoroughly enjoyed a brief tour of Toronto, including Rabbi Tomasho's favorite place, the Aroma in Forest Hill, but felt increasingly nervous as we got closer and closer to touring our building. Admittedly, I was a little intimidated, more than a little intimidated, to finally meet you in person, this leading light of our reform movement, whom I had admired from afar for so long. Yet the moment that you walked into the Schwartz-Reisman atrium and we looked at each other, it was like a piece of the puzzle clicked. I knew that everything was going to be okay, for I'd found a very special person in a very special home. Of the many things that I've come to admire about you since that time, such as that you are deeply thoughtful, delight in telling stories, and are meticulously detail-oriented, what made me understand that you were someone special was your good heart, which you demonstrate in such subtle ways for the people you care about. You are the kind of rabbi who will get down on the floor to play with our colleagues' children, who brings sunflowers to our president as a thank you gift for hosting a board event, and who quietly made this then student feel at home on that cold winter's morning by leaving chocolate on the desk when I was out of the room for a few moments. During an ordination seminar in my final year of rabbinical school, co-taught by Rabbi Tomasho, in fact, the guest rabbi that week reminded my classmates and I that, nervous as we were about the whole job search, the senior rabbis potentially bringing us on were just as nervous, for we are representations of their choices. Yet, Rabbi Splansky, you are also the kind of rabbi who will back her choices. You always have your colleagues' backs. Please know that I want to work every day in the hopes of proving worthy of your choice, and that I always have your back too. You make me want to be not just a better rabbi, but a better person. Each day I'm lucky enough to be here with you. My rabbi, my teacher, I'm constantly in awe of you, and I adore you. To the rest of my beloved clergy team, Rabbi Kay, Cantor Rosen, and cantorial soloist Lindy Rivers. Obviously, you are extraordinarily talented, intelligent, creative, driven, kind people, but our entire congregation already knows this, as much as I would love to extol each of your virtues from this Shabbat until forever. What they do not get to always see, though, is your funny and playful sides, the one that makes working together such a pleasure. Today, then, I simply want to thank you for teaching me not to take myself too seriously by always making me laugh, and for your good humor and grace through every situation under the sun. To the rest of the professional staff, from senior leadership team to our administrators, including Rabbi Slansky's and mine's amazing assistant, Joanne Beeman, who keeps us grounded, to the facilities team, all led by our incomparable executive director, Rachel Malik. What makes you all so wonderful is that you are not just wildly competent, but also care about the human touch. Watching you work together is, as Rabbi Tomasho said, the dream team, and I am honored to be but a cog in your machine. to the search committee led by Karen Collins and Jeff Denneberg. Your note informing me that you were now looking for an assistant rabbi quite literally changed my life. Thank you endlessly for bringing myself and Rabbi Kay here and for making this dream come true. I think I can speak for us both in saying that we are eternally grateful. To the board led by Avra Rosen and, as of tomorrow, Phyllis Denneberg, and yes, Avra, I can see you counting the hours. Your shared commitment to the value, the very Jewish value of community, sets the bar so high for this congregation and teaches us by your example. To my lay partners, particularly under the Kehillah Kedoshah portfolio and at the YEC on Sunday mornings, it is your pure dedication, your ideas, your talents, and your commitment to our community that make me wiser every day. It is you who have truly taught me the beauty of the learning-teaching symbiosis, and I'm honored to be your collaborator. And to you, the Holy Blossom community, Rabbi Tomasho extolled the generosity of spirit of this congregation, but I couldn't quite fathom how right she was, as you have so kindly and warmly welcomed myself, Rabbi Kay, and his family into your lives. I look forward to all that we still have to learn from and to teach one another, and to all the good we will do and the many wonderful memories we will create as a result. And the two most important thank yous are to my Rabbi Joseph Rosen, the self-proclaimed Chief Rabbi of Mississippi, my partner in the truest sense of the word, who is supportive and sensitive and has some of the world's best intuition. You always know when to be there with a comforting word, a listening ear, or an insight that puts a situation into perspective. It's been a wild adventure, so thank you for always being along for the ride. How fortunate that we can learn and grow wiser together. I love you. To the most important thank you, my dear family, the center of my world, even when we are a world apart. I love you too, and we'll see you soon. I'd like to end our morning with a midrash, which goes as follows. Rabbi Eliza said, "If all the seas were ink, and all the reeds pens, and heaven and earth scrolls, and all mankind scribes, they would not suffice to write the Torah that I have learned, even though I abstracted from it no more than anyone would take by dipping the tip of their paintbrush into the sea." Put simply, whilst I have learned much since becoming a rabbi and since coming to Holy Blossom, I recognize that these learnings are but a drop in the ocean. In humility and in love, I am deeply grateful and deeply delighted to continue swimming in the sea of wisdom with all of you. Shabbat Shalom.